Nice. Welcome to the womb of PRI. Cool. Ready? Do you want to start or should I start?
You should go for it.
Okay. Does anyone have the time? Does one person have the time?
It is
9:27.
9:27. What does that even mean, 9:27? And it's funny, in this world, we spend a lot of time focusing on the here and the now and the to be language and defining everything for what we see, right? Always based on our watch, always based on our computers. And historically, for thousands of years, people have been basing time and occurrences and natural phenomena on the natural world and how they relate to each other, and how specifically we all relate to each other as well. And this practice, or this theory, is called phenology, and it's something that we're going to be practicing all throughout the year by calling on you all to just be a little more observant in your daily lives in terms of the natural world. And so, for example, if you live outside, or, well, I hope maybe some of you live outside, I really hope that, I don't. But if outside lives maybe an ornamental cherry tree, maybe you can just keep an eye on that cherry tree and just track it through the year and see when the leaves are starting to turn and see when it's dropping, see what animals are making its home in there, seeing what humans just stop and look up at it. And so this is going to be a multi-month observational period which we're going to stack on top of each other and come up with some sort of phenology calendar for us. And more specifically regarding where we're all from, something that I would like us to do is, those of you who have brought your wood and your water, thank you very much. And those of you who haven't, that's okay, just try to bring it next time. And so, why don't we start? Yeah, before.
Folks who are on the ground, if you all are, this is going to take a little bit. So if you're uncomfortable, let's make sure that you have space.
Yeah, there's some space here. You can sit. So I'll demonstrate how this goes. So I'll say my name. My name is Julian, and this is my hardwood from a dogwood tree, right? Theoretically. And then my water is from the Columbia Slough, and that's the closest watershed to where I live. And so hopefully, even though it can sometimes be difficult, you've done just a little bit of research to find out what your closest water source is, or your watershed is. And then when you have that water, what I'd like you to do is just to place it on the fire here, on this wood here.
In its jar or dump it out?
Just the wood.
Just the wood.
And then, did I say the water? So I was also melting in that too. Well, now that I think about it, is there someone who has a big jar that's mostly empty that I can mix all of our waters together? Okay, well, just place your wood on top of here and then just hand me your water jar.
Do you want me to get a big thing and then people just pour it?
Yeah, that would be great.
I over-prepared. I got a big bottle of it.
Nice.
I could dump some of it out.
Jerry, everyone. Jerry. Would you like to start?
I might have. My name is Donna, and this is. I'm not going to burn this because I didn't get my wood together. But this is an old-growth piece of redwood. There are about 76 rings just across this little piece of wood. But I'm going to keep it. I don't want to burn it. But I'm sorry. I read everything late last night, so I didn't really come prepared.
Okay.
I'm Andrea, and I think this is a piece of oak. So just put it on the...
Mm-hmm. And then what's your closest watershed?
And the Johnson Creek watershed.
Cool. Thank you.
I'm Jared. I don't have any wood with me. I guess we could go with oak. I think there's an oak tree near my house.
And where is your house, Jared?
It's by 132nd and Sacramento Drive.
Okay.
So, and I think I get my water just from where Portland gets it from. the main runoff.
Is there a close creek or anything to where you live?
Negative.
What's the closest body of water naturally?
Probably the Columbia River. Just
Okay.
knows it's green here.
Just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
This is a piece of cottonwood that I harvested this morning. I felt like a honeybee or a hummingbird moving really, really quickly if I didn't read the email until this. So this is cottonwood that my grandfather cleared from my beach, or not my beach, the beach that I belong to. Maybe. I live on the Sandy River. It's my nearest watershed, running about 200 feet outside of the front door of my cabin. That's where the water surrounds.
Did you put a little water in there?
Just a wee bit.
Well done. I'm Jenny. I live in Salem. This piece of hardwood is apple. It's from the orchard across from where I live. A juggling routine as well. And this water is from a creek about 400 feet from where I live. It's called Gold Creek.
Gold Creek?
Gold Creek.
Gold Creek. Anything Gold Creek.
I just got little bits and the water has
Just
like little
bits.
life in it. I'm way up here. Hi, I'm Brian.
Oh, sorry.
I don't know what this is, but it's from the tree that fell and destroyed part of the house that I now live in, and gave me the opportunity actually to be here in this class. So I thank it, but I have no idea what it is. Maybe sometime during the course y'all can help me discover that.
Thanks, Brian.
Absolutely.
That's a pretty special tree.
It's a very special tree. It was a tree that was like this wide and fell in a space this wide and managed to not land on the house.
Wow.
This is from the Johnson Creek Watershed from Westmoreland.
Okay.
By the ducks, that little landing you got.
I'm Matt,
Hi, Matt.
and this is a piece of oak that Becca was so generous to gift to me this morning. So, thank you, Becca.
Thanks, Becca.
And I did not bring any water other than the Bull Run Watershed water I have in my belly.
There is a way to contribute.
Hey, my name is Jan. I brought water, but I will not contaminate it with this because I brought it from a drinking fountain right outside of Providence Park, which is my natural habitat because I love soccer. So that is for me the watershed, and I also brought a little piece of oak. Thank you very much.
Well, we're noticing a pattern here, and so for those of you who haven't brought your water, we're going to use your saliva in this. So
I brought the water, but I'm not.
Okay.
okay.
If you feel comfortable, you could spit in it.
I just wanted to spit somewhere.
Yeah. If you didn't get a chance to spit, then.
Yeah, I don't feel like you should feel also the water from your drinking fountain. I feel like that's just as sacred as the rest.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
We'll run. All right.
Came from a watershed
Sachiko.
somewhere.
Go ahead.
I'm Sachiko. I live in Southeast, from between Hudson to Division 36. Then I pick it up my garden. Maybe I think cherry.
Cherry.
Then from my kitchen, can I?
Yeah.
Please.
But yeah.
I'm Holly, and I live in Beaverton, and my wood is from an American sweet gum, also known as a liquid amber tree.
You say those from the sweet gum? Sweet gum?
American
gum.
sweet gum. Yeah, it's one that's got star-shaped leaves.
Yes.
They're real pretty.
Oh, I know all
We
about
like
those.
to get rid of wood.
Yeah.
Put
And
it
all of their
down.
seed.
I would like to
seed pods.
convert it into mushrooms.
Yeah, right.
Yes, I don't believe it's native to here. It's
No, it's a pain.
something around our apartment complex, but I think it's a hardwood, as far as I'm able to tell. And the water is from the little creek that runs around our complex, which is, I figured out that it's Gulf Creek,
Golf Creek.
and it's from the Tualatin, it's part of the Tualatin watershed.
Wow, much appreciated. Thank you. My name's Chell. Hi. I live kind of on the south end of downtown, so I nearby park. I think this was under a maple tree, so I'm assuming it's a maple. That's really a guess if it actually fell from that. And the water I got, the nearest thing is actually not that far as, I guess, the Willamette. Very much appreciated.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Sure. Jerry, my piece of stick, it's just a mesh bag, is oak, Quercus something, and I don't know the name of the creek, but it's right nearby. I live, I'm not sure if it's Portland or Beaverton, but it's southwest. And yeah, under a bridge, under a bike path. Kind of slippery down there.
Oh, my turn? Oh, hi. Is it for that over? Yes. Hi, my name is Yu.
You?
Yu, yeah. So, I think this is maple. Sugar maple?
Probably not, but I hope.
I hope. And I live in Northeast, and I thought I was getting water from the Columbia, but actually I was getting from Willamette River. So I got from Willamette River straight. Ooh, thank you.
Learning in the process.
So much, I'm so excited.
I'm Cheryl, and my husband Zane harvested this from our property. It's spruce this morning, one of the many trees we have. And our water is from the Clackamas River watershed. Oh, Clackamas River.
Cool. And while people are pouring, the next person you can start.
I'm Hillary. This is Fig from my backyard. I live in Southeast on 20th and Clinton, and I've got saliva for this jar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Mom. Oh, sorry.
Did we decide who's drinking it?
We all are.
Yeah, we're all gonna drink. Sorry, Zane. Sorry.
Yeah,
Don't
so
go running.
I'm Zane. I also brought a little piece of the
Oh.
spruce, and the spruce tree is actually it's a special spruce tree. This is my meditation and prayer spruce tree. So it holds it down.
Yeah.
Raising it up.
Thank you, Zane.
It was the same water.
I'm Janet. I brought a piece of the apple tree from our backyard, which I'm told the apples of which only are fed to our goats. So it's goat energy.
Yeah.
Donna, are
What?
you from Southeast Alaska? Did
Yes.
you live in Southeast
I
Alaska?
did. Do I know you?
So this water comes from our tap because I too think that this is sacred. We drink it, we cook with it, we clean ourselves with it, and I didn't really have time to go to a watershed, which is the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So there it is.
Oh, and before we go on, if there's anyone else who has water from the tap, we can now officially just call it Nasty Branch Watershed.
Nasty
Yeah,
Branch.
we'll just give it a name. We'll just call it Nasty Branch Watershed.
And you'll explain that name later?
Yep.
All right. I'll hold it for you.
Thank you. My name is Dylan.
Janet. Sisyphus.
All
Oh my God.
At least 20 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Southeast Alaska is our connection.
The first three co-parent. Yes.
We'll hold it.
And what watershed is that?
I found that. I think it's ash, maybe white oak. I'm not quite sure. It was about the size of Donna's, and I didn't have room for it, so like 7:30 in the morning, I was sawing at it. It took like 10 minutes, and I was like, "I'll be late." I wanted it to be small enough, so.
Thank you.
It's a hardwood then, at least.
Yeah.
This watershed is from Johnson Creek, not because it's the closest one to my house, because it was the closest one to where I was when I realized I forgot to get watershed closest to my house. So.
Thank you for everyone being honest with the watershed difficulties.
I'm Marissa. I live in. Oh, sorry. I brought this from a dumpster by my house. It had a bunch of scrap wood, and so I thought, well, might as well use it. I'm not sure what it is. It smells nice.
It's city wood.
City wood, and then some nasty, what was it, nasty branch water.
Yeah.
City wood, nasty branch water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That might have
some glue. Yeah.
Oh, there's glue on it?
Yeah. Okay, well, hold it.
Nasty branch water.
I'm Becca. I got red oak.
Nice.
It comes from Salvage Works, who helped me out.
Hmm.
So they're close to my house, and they salvage a lot of wood for reuse there. And I tried to get water from my closest watershed, but was unsuccessful last night. So I can contribute my spit.
Yes, thanks.
Right.
Woo!
Hi everyone.
Hello.
I'm Tyson, and I live in Silverton.
Hmm.
And this water here is from Silver Creek.
Right,
So it's
yeah.
not far from where I live.
No.
And the wood, I don't know what type of apple tree it is, but it's from our backyard. And the variety ripens pretty early in the season, and it's very mushy apple, so I haven't quite been able to. It softens like right after you pick it. Anyways, it was a pretty rotten tree. It was like leaning about halfway over, so unfortunately I had to cut it down. So
Thank you.
it's pretty fresh wood, so it's probably not going to burn.
Silver Creek.
I'm Michelle, and I live in Milwaukee, down in the little town area, very close to Little Willamette. And this was a sweet gum. Sorry to hear it complained about, but I think it was under the sweet gum. For me, it was a little connection. I recently moved from Ohio, and I had a big sweet gum behind my house, so that's something. And I got this water from the Willamette in between where the Kellogg Creek and the Johnson Creek spill into it. But it was easier to get to the Willamette, frankly. So that's why I got that.
Right, this goes back to the
I'm Maria. Cottonwood.
Yeah.
Growing in Johnson Creek.
Yeah. Short and sweet. Ever so concise.
Hold
on.
And I'm Vivian. So, okay. So this is Palo Santo. I did source it from a local store, but I only had one piece of firewood. I live in an apartment complex, so I got stressed out, like how, I don't know how to, and I didn't have an axe to like break down the one piece of firewood, so I just brought this. And then this is, I didn't have a chance to Google what watershed means, so I thought I have to find someone's watershed with like a metal tin roof, and I'm like, how am I going to do this? It's like so much research. And when I was in Mount Shasta, I brought I sourced like 10 gallons of water for myself. So this is like from Sacramento.
Yeah, thank you. Studied.
You don't have to put that in there. It's spicy. Really? It's fine. If it's okay with everybody.
It smells good. I like that. Well, we love it. It adds a certain sacredness to it.
Okay.
Sacramento's my hometown, so you brought water. What I
Oh,
used to drink.
awesome. It's so good.
Hi, I'm Nancy. I live on the east side and reasonably new to Portland. New enough that, well, that I'm not yet rooted. I still work in Salem, part-time. And my contribution is an imaginary piece from the maple tree in my backyard. And my spit is also a contribution.
Thank you, Nancy.
Yep.
My name is Matt, and I've got this probably cherry or apple from here at Plant Repair Institute in Hardwood, probably cut off past season. And I live in the Johnson Creek watershed, and there are lots of Johnson Creekers, so who's got a little Johnson Creek water that I can borrow? I got the coffee, but I forgot the water. Which you all appreciate the coffee.
Yeah. Water plus berry.
I'm Pandora, and brought I brought 2 woods. The wild cherry, and then this is not a hardwood, but we grow a lot of bamboo at the Eco Village, so I wanted him to be included.
Which Eco Village?
Kailash Eco Village. And then this is from the Willamette Watershed, although we're very close to that border where the Johnson Creek and Willamette overlap here. And it's collected from the property and then goes down into our water table, and then we pump it back up. And then it went through the gray water sink. So.
Nice.
It's traveled.
Yeah.
Thank you. Is that everyone?
I need to
Oh,
put some-
excuse me. Sorry.
Some
You're
spit.
going some
No, I
spit.
just need to put some spit in.
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
And say that I live in Northeast Portland.
Yay.
That's the good part.
Hi.
I'm Zach, and I brought some silver birch today that was grown, that self-seeded between my house and my neighbors, and it was like right under their eaves, so I cut it down for them.
Nice.
So I brought that. And my closest watershed is the Mount Tabor watershed. So thankfully it rained last night, and I collected this on the hill on the way down. As I bike here.
I'm Travis, and from Milwaukee, around like home in Monroe, and I brought this from a cedar tree in my yard, and then Johnson Creek watershed. This one.
What are we doing?
We have something special together. Anyone else? Cool. So, welcome to 8 months together. We'll be spending, and hopefully this fire, which is going to be going once we go back inside and go on to our next topics, will hold that commitment and hold that energy for us and keep that fire alive throughout this whole class of learning and exploration and new friends and lovers and whatnot. So thank you all, and maybe keep your watershed in the back of your mind throughout this class. And if you were unaware as to where your specific watershed, it's your closest waterway. It's your closest waterway. So you don't have to necessarily report back to us next time, but maybe just a little further research would be cool. And thank you all for bringing mostly hardwood. There's some softwood in there, but that's totally fine. Yeah, Rudy, do you want to?
Add anything? Well, I would say to add on to what you're saying about the watershed, part of why we picked that is to start to identify less as a name given to us or a nationality or these sure, those we have multiple identities, and those are like human kind of layering. But then also to draw our identity from the land itself, that doesn't have invisible political lines that are contentious. And so water being something that we're all like, it's in us. That's why survival too. So to start to shift the way that we see ourselves as a part of something.
Cool. And then we're going to be reading these agreements, correct?
Yeah, I would say that can we do that on the inside?
Yeah. Yeah, where we have all of them?
Yeah. Sweet. Yep. Are we lighting the fire?
Yeah,
Can we light the fire?
I would light it from the holes in the bottom. There should be paper in the center there.
Cool.
Okay.
Double.
Double.
Sorry. Great. In front of everyone.
While Julian's getting that lit up, some of you might be curious about this space, and Mark's going to give us more of an expanded tour. But this is a really special spot. We usually start our courses here. So this is an area that is between yards that have been defenced, and we're going to learn a lot about the kind of shift that this neighborhood and this block has made to address some of the things that we'll be talking about in this course. A lot of it is around property ownership and rights to be someplace or not to be someplace, and so this place is the sort of heart center of this neighborhood, which is the heart center of a movement which you are all going to be learning a bit about. It's a movement that doesn't have any one particular affiliation. It's just sort of a movement of making the shifts that we know personally we need to make, and sometimes it's more outwardly expressed, sometimes it's more inwardly expressed, and just so that folks have a feeling of coming in with a sense of acceptance where you're at, like everybody's on their journey, and so also this course isn't about being at a certain place in the spectrum of making all these changes. You're here because you want to make a shift based on where you are right now, and so that's why this course happens. That's why you're here, I hope. So you're welcome to be who you are, and we'll go over some agreements around how we want to communicate with each other, just so that the space is safe enough, but also there's that edge. We'll learn a lot about edges too, and the social edge of being like feeling safe enough and also feeling vulnerable to go further than where you're used to going. And so that's going to be an edge that's different for everybody, but the invitation is to find that edge, be aware of that edge, and work with it. All right. So Julian, you think that this is you're going to be able to like that in the time frame that we're here?
I sure hope so.
No pressure.
But it's certainly a good representation of the urban environment. We have all these beautiful woods and some reclaimed material, and yeah, it's a lot harder to start a beautiful sacred fire in the urban environment. It just takes a little bit more energy and a little bit more intention, doesn't it, than out in the wild land.
Unless it's been raining a lot.
If anyone has any intentions that are unsaid or wishes for the class, sometimes what I like to do is just blow it into my hand and blow into the fire, and you're welcome to do that if you'd like.
Can we speak them aloud?
Like, yeah.
I have the wish for us to all weather the upcoming seasons with grace.
last year it was really difficult. It had just rained, so everyone was bringing these like soggy pieces of wood, and we're like, we got this. Just we were inside. You know, and I don't know if you saw the wood stove. But the wood stove's sort of off to this side. I'm blocking it. But yeah, you can come up to it or where you're standing.
And do we want to maybe just, as people feel called to, we're going to wander back into the house. And
Yep.
so our goal is to be inside in 5 minutes, just to give you a sense of how long it should take.
Careful with that finger trick, it turns into a whistle sometimes.
How do you do that?
Yeah.
But slower, slower. Blow it out. Yeah, it's like a concentrated needle worth of air that shoots in one area rather than around it.
I wonder why I've never seen anybody do that before.
So it's similar to T-ball where you keep your eye on the ball. You have to keep your eye on where you want to point it.
It's pretty cool.
I like it.
I need practice. But you just go like that, and then just blow it. It's like the slower you go, the more concentrated the air is.